I want to welcome everyone. This is a wonderful, wonderful crowd. My name is Joe Walsh, and I am the director of Turning Point. And this is an event that really just came together like 3-4 weeks ago. So, welcome.
Dear God in heaven, we come to you today with heavy hearts. We remember those we love who have been lost to addiction. We remember those who are in the midst of addiction. We remember, too, the family and friends who bear so many burdens. We remember so many among us who are touched by the crisis of addiction. So we come to you now, God, humbly, yet boldly asking for your blessing. Please, God, bring peace and comfort to us as we mourn our losses. Please, God, come near to us that we may know your presence and peace in this time of need. O God, give us your grace and peace which we cannot find without you. We also ask that you would bless each one who is currently experiencing addiction. Please open our eyes so that we can see the help that we need. Open our ears so we can hear the voices of those calling us home. Please break the chains around us so we can take a step forward toward recovery and wholeness and healing. O God, will you fill our hearts so we don't need to turn to anything else? Bless our civic leaders with wisdom and courage. Bless our law enforcement officers with safety and strength and love. Bless those in the court system with hearts of compassion and justice. Bless those assisting in recovery in so many different ways with energy and patience. Oh Lord, it is so easy to feel discouraged when we look around, so will you give us hope? We are hopeless without you, so give us true hope that comes from you. Lift our heads to see the good that you are working all around us. May we be united in purpose in helping those experiencing addiction and protecting those who are vulnerable. May we realize that our enemy is not those who we may disagree with, but our enemy is this demon of addiction. May we unite against this enemy. Will you stop the flow of drugs into our town? Will you stop the demand for this flow of drugs? Will you revitalize this town and its people as we work together? Give us vision as we go from here. Oh God, will you use us to make a difference? Show us, show our families, show our friends, show our schools, our faith communities, our businesses, our civic groups. Lord, show us all how we can make a difference as we go from here. So hear our prayers, Lord, see our tears. And I pray that you would lift our heads and that we would unite in this common purpose. Help us, O God, we pray in your holy name. Amen.
Thank you all. This is really touching to me personally, as well as a state senator. 108, I want to keep two numbers in mind, and we'll talk about those two numbers. 108 and 500 plus. 15 years ago, this Thursday, a young man who I worked with for years, I'm going to call him Vern because I can't tell you his real name, but Vern died of a heroin overdose. Like so many other stories that we're hearing today, this young man I felt very close to. Over the years working at 204 Depot, probably 30 to 40 young men who I got to know on a very personal basis, came to make a difference. And Vern's death shocked a lot of us. He was like so many other stories. He started on painkillers because he had injured his back and got into heroin. Died in an apartment in Rutland by himself because those that were with him at the time he was using the heroin were afraid and they ran out. Left him to die on the floor there in that apartment. To know Vern over these years and to think about him and think of what a great life he could have had it not been for this tragedy. And to think that 108 Vermonters lost their lives to drug addiction last year. 108. If 108 people in Vermont died from a traffic accident, we would be outraged. They'd be calling me and saying, Senator Campion over there, pass some strict laws on drunk driving. Do something about it. If 108 people lost their lives in some other way, there would be outrage. I haven't really heard it. We keep losing people. And that is why we're here tonight, I think, is not only to recognize those who passed on, but to give hope for the future. And when I said 500 plus, 4 years ago, about this time, the legislature passed a law based upon actually my experience with Vern and some other input from those who knew him, as well as the state's attorney in Chittenden County, T.J. Donovan, where we passed a law that said if you're with someone who's having a heroin overdose and you try to get help for that person, we are not going to hold you accountable for anything. You're not going to be charged with a crime. You are actually doing the right thing, even if you were in possession of heroin yourself. I always thought of that law as Vern's law. And the 508 people who, when I talk about that number, 500 people plus, and it's growing, are people who've been saved by Narcan. And now we have Narcan here at the Turning Point Center. We have it most police agencies in Vermont. Most emergency medical folks carry it. We are one of the top states in the nation in using this. And I urge everyone to make sure that if you know someone who is having problems, to make sure that you have this available for them should they overdose. There is no reason to have 108 Vermonters lose their lives last year to heroin overdose or to substance abuse overdose. So I really, my heart goes out to those of you who are touched either by loved ones or family members or whomever tonight, and I share that grief with you. But there is hope for the future, and I love that sign out there, hope, and keep that in mind. Thank you very much.
As I was listening to Dick, I had recently looked up some figures, some statistics also, and when he said 108, I thought, oh, yeah, I knew where he was going to go with that. And for some, they might say, well, what's 108, you know? Well, here we are. We are now going to personalize those numbers. That's what part of why we're here, because to put a face to all of this, it isn't just about numbers. It isn't just about somebody that's lost their home. It's about that, but it's about the person who struggles with this addiction. When I was 18 months old, I was the youngest of 4 children. And my father and my oldest sister Beverly, who was 11, had decided they were going to go see my grandmother. They stepped outside and started to cross the street, and someone who was inebriated came around the corner and hit them both, and they both died. So a lot of times I think people are affected and maybe they don't see it because they're not the one overdosing. But addiction affects us all in a lot of different ways. I just wanted to share that story because part of that when I was thinking about all this too, when this thought first came up, I was hearing about the overdoses in our community. And I started thinking we really need to be doing something, you know, kind of having the passing thought. And then I got a call from St. Albans. And on the other end of this call was a mother who had just lost her son to an overdose. And when I got done talking to Debbie, I went into Maria and I said, you know what, we have to do something. Let's have a light the night. And that's how this came to be. And that was the start of a lot of things, including developing friendship with Debbie. I'd like to have Debbie come up now and share with you about her journey thus far.
And I tried to think that I wasn't going to cry tonight. But I had a conversation today with a very good friend of mine. And that conversation brought to me what I was going to talk about. Because a lot of people don't know me. They knew my child. And they know my other child, Lance. And both of my children are addicts. And I'm sorry and I'm going to apologize to everyone. I don't understand it because I don't understand addiction. I've tried. I read about it. I talk to people. But my children were never brought up with drugs. I brought them up good. And I know a lot of people in the community are wondering, why is she doing something now? She didn't do anything before. But I want everyone to know that I helped my children as much as I could. There's not a night, and there never was a night, that I went to bed without saying, good night, I love you, and I hope you're both safe. So I did care about my children, and I did try to help my children as much as I could. But you cannot enable your children, and that's where I had to back away. I had to stop, because I did. I used to help them pay for hotel rooms. I used to give them money. I don't have any food. I don't have this. And I was guilty of it. Every time they called me because I needed to be their mom, I gave them money. So for everyone who thinks I didn't care, or any parent who lost their children, you all know how I feel. You know that you loved your children, and your heart is empty. And you don't know what to do. The day Clark died, I live 4 hours from here, but I signed myself up on the Bennington Bulletin page because I was worried about my kids, and they were here, and I was there. So I always wanted to know what was going on, and I heard of all the stories happening down here. I followed the whole story all day. I sat in my office, and I just kept going back to it. I knew there was an overdose. I knew they were going. I knew that a male had died. And I said to myself, well, I haven't got a call. It couldn't have been my child. But I felt it all day long. And I just knew something was going to happen. So it came time for me to leave work. And I felt so much better that I didn't get that call. It wasn't my child. And I no more than walked into my house that night, and I got that knock on my door. And they told me that my son had died. And with him dying, I died. And I have another child that I still worry about on a daily basis who's in the program. So for everyone knowing the story of a parent, they need to know that we do care. We love them as much as we love them, but we can't help them if they can't help themselves. So I didn't know what to do, and I called my friend Jackie, and I said to her, you need to find me a program down there that I can help, because I know that we can do. And she found Turning Point, so that's when I made my phone call. And I started a Fund Me page, because my point was that losing my son, if I could help one parent, just one parent, from getting that phone call I got, then I would feel that my son passing was in peace, and that I could move on a little further, and I could do something. So I started the Fund Me page, and we've raised almost $5,000 that's going to go to the Turning Point. I sold bracelets that we already made $300 for, and now I have a raffle that's going that I'm going to send off on May 31st, which would be Clark's birthday. He would be 32. And all of that money is going to go to the Turning Point. I went about, I have a lot of connections where I work, and I talk to a lot of my connections, and we have like $1,700 worth of stuff in that raffle basket. So we're hoping that every year I can keep this going, and that'll be what I can do for addicts, because they can help. I don't know how to help. I'm not the counselor, I'm not the addict. I wish I could say I knew, and I'm very sorry that I don't. But they can help in my place. So I just pray that there are addicts out here that are going to use this resource. Save your mom from getting that call. Because I can tell you that I don't know when I'm going to ever. I have to get up every morning, and I fight every morning to get up. Because I'm adopting a little girl that needs me. I have another son that needs me. So I have to get up every day, and I have to go to work. I don't want to. And I don't know when it's going to stop. It probably never will. So please, walk into the Turning Point and tell them you need help. And let them help you. And if the only way I can help is to do resources to put money into it, then that's what I'll do. And that's all I ask, is that everybody just ask for the help. Everybody's worth it, everyone's life. No matter if you're an addict, or if people call you a loser, or if they call you scumbag. Everybody's a person, and everybody has a heart. And Clark was a wonderful person. Lance is a wonderful person. They have problems. They had addiction. And when you have an addiction, you turn into not a nice person. But you're still a person with a heart. So please, everyone, just get the help. Use the resources. And just everyone remember, the parents, even though we're not involved, we still love our children with all our hearts. And it's heartbreaking. Trust me, it's heartbreaking. You don't, if you've lost a loved one, and it's not your child, you lose your child, it's 10 times worse. That's what I say. It's 10 times worse than the pain you felt with somebody else. So, please go and get the help. And thank you all for coming.
I guess I'm kind of at a loss for words right now. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you for all that you're doing. We at Turning Point are extremely grateful. We're looking at ways that we can best use this money to help individuals. Because there is help. There is help. We are a safe place for you to come to. I'm going to read this, and then I am going to ask, we will start lighting the candles. Once the candles are lit, then I'm asking that anyone who would like to walk up here and come to the podium and mention the name of someone that you love, lost, whatever brought you here tonight. We are not alone in our grief, our tears, and memories. We reach out to one another with love, with understanding, and with hope. Those we loved who have died unite us. Your pain becomes my pain. Your joy becomes my joy. Your hope is my hope. Some of us are far along in our grieving. Others still experience grief so fresh and intensely painful that we feel helpless and see no hope. Some of us have found our faith to be a source of strength. Some of us are angry. Some filled with guilt or in deep depression. Others glow with inner peace. Whatever pain we bring to this gathering, it is pain we share. Even as we struggle to rebuild our lives, we reach out to one another with love. We will share joy as well as pain. We will share peace of mind as well as anger. We will share faith as well as doubt. We will help one another to grow as we grieve. We are not alone.
I lost my friend Abby, and I wanted her name to echo one more time. Thank you.
I lost my cousin Clark to a heroin addiction.
I lost my nephew.
Matthew Clark, Railway Witness. My Sam grandmother, I'm sorry that happened to you.
Clark Sam is Uncle Jim, we love you, Clark.
My nephew, Todd Davison, died from alcoholism 6 years ago. He couldn't put it down, he tried. I hope you're well.
I have lost my cousin, Clark Salmon, over here, folks. I've lost my cousin, Clark Salmon, over overdose. I lost my stepson, Dustin Richards, to overdose.
I lost my childhood friend, Dustin Richards, to overdose.
I knew Clark Salmon. He was a great guy and a good bowler. Thank you.
I lost my cousin, Carly Jean Farrow.
I lost my daughter Jamie 3 years ago to an overdose.
I lost my son, Jeremy Hillcomb, to an overdose in 2014.
I lost my son's father, my fiance, Randy Dennison Sr., in 2007 to an overdose.
I lost my best friend Jay Fade to actually a fentanyl overdose in 2013. I just want to remember Mike Stawalski and Tommy D.
Just one time, my cousin Walter, he died of AIDS after giving up heroin, and I'd like to remember Josh Persett.
This is in memory of Shelley, a beautiful, kind young woman.
This is for Jacob Butler, a classmate and a really good friend of mine, overdosed 3 years ago.
This is for Isabel White, my adopted daughter's birth mom. My childhood friends, Dustin Richards and Aaron Carr, rest in peace.
I lost two friends, Joe Mayer and Mitch Hunt, to heroin overdose.
I would like to say, let's remember all those. The ones we don't know, the ones we do know, the ones that we aren't saying tonight. May they have their peace now. All right, we'll have a moment of silence now. For those of you who can do this, some people won't be able to. I'd like you to look into the flame of your candle. Close your eyes. With your eyes closed, blow out your candle. You will see the flame still glows behind your closed eyes. And so it is with memories. But what I'm hoping is that tonight we have brought something to the attention of people around us, and that we have personalized this. The word hope was mentioned over here. Actually, it's mentioned a couple times. There is hope. I thank all of you for taking part in this.